Transformers Beast Wars is easily one of the best Transformers series ever created. That's right, I just said that. Let's talk about it. What's up, my comic comrades? Today we're talking Transformers, specifically one of our favorite versions of Transformers, Beast Wars. Yes, Transformers Rise of the Beast is almost upon us, and it has given us the first live-action versions of Beast Wars characters such as Optimus Primal, Cheetor, and more. All of which are characters from the Beast Wars animated TV show that have helped pave the way for CGI animation in TV and film. Now, before we get into breaking down some of the Beast Wars characters, let's give a quick rundown of what Beast Wars is and how it fits into the Transformers universe. Beast Wars is set in the future of the original Transformers G1 timeline, 300 years in the future to be exact. You see, we learned that the Maximals and Predacons are descendants of the Autobots and Decepticons. Maximals come from the Autobot lineage and Predacons come from the Decepticons. The two factions were in battle in space and crashed on an unknown planet. Stranded on said planet, both the Maximals and Predacons scanned the planet and adopted the disguises of the animals on it, thus the name Beast Wars. Beast Wars even got a sequel series in 1999 called Beast Machines Transformers. With that said, what are some of the best characters the Beast Wars universe has to offer? Well, we're about to give you our opinion on just that. And trust me, I have some strong opinions, as this is one of my most beloved cartoon series from my youth. First, of course, we have Optimus Primal. As his name implies, this is the Optimus Prime for the Maximals. Primal was the captain of the Maximal ship that crashed while chasing down the Predacons. Primal is your stereotypical inspirational speech-giving, always gonna do the right thing and be loyal to my friends type of leader. Although unlike the original G1 Optimus Prime, he is willing to find loopholes in certain situations if it means a better outcome. He's essentially like the Captain America of the Maximals, someone you could easily follow into battle and trust their judgment. Now, any Prime is going to be forced to live in the shadow of G1 Prime for obvious reasons, but there is an argument to be made that Optimus Primal is the best Prime, period. You see, Primal basically merged with the G1 Optimus Prime, taking Prime's spark, giving us Optimal Prime, essentially the most perfect version of the character. So dare I say Optimus Primal is the best Prime? You can make that argument, he definitely is mine. Moving along, we have another one of my favorites, and that of course is Rat Trap. He was the comic relief of the group and the smallest Maximal. He is definitely not the bravest, basically a chicken, which is what makes him such a fun character. He's a soldier in the group that if he thinks it's too risky, he's gonna tell his captain or superior, yeah, you can go shove it. Or how about you do it yourself? Rat Trap is often rude and sarcastic and not the most trusting on the team. But it's for all of these reasons why he's such an interesting and funny character. So though he's not really a character kids wanted to be growing up, he was hilarious to watch. Unfortunately, however, he will not be making his live action debut in Rise of the Beast, which is very sad. He would have added some good banter and dynamic to the team, but hopefully he'll be in the next Transformers film. Next up, we have a character I absolutely loved and searched for the action figure tirelessly at Walmart, Target, and Toys R Us when I was a kid, but never found. And that would be Rhinox. Rhinox is essentially the beast of this group. He's extremely intelligent, strong, and loyal. I would say as far as moral code and loyalty goes, he is second only to Primal. And Cheetor even said at one point that Rhinox is the best of them all. Then you add on him being the muscle of the group, able to fight freaking Megatron to a standstill, and you have one of the best characters the series has to offer. Who remembers his two giant chain guns? It's still one of the coolest things I've seen in Transformers. In a lot of ways, Rhinox is the heart and backbone of the Maximals and easily a top 3 favorite character from the franchise. Speaking of favorite things, we recently introduced you guys to Holzkern and told you about their sunglasses. Well, summer is almost upon us, and these are the shades I'll be wearing in the summer sun. Why? Because these are probably the most comfortable and protective sunglasses I have ever owned. These are called the Humble, and it's part of a line of dope sunglasses by today's sponsor, Holzkern. I assume they're called the Humble because this pair isn't flashy, just a simple and classic wood design and stabilizing carbon fiber, which comes in both leadwood and walnut. But if you're the type that likes to take things up a notch, the Logician might be your choice. These unique Pilot sunglasses come in 3 wood options with polarized tack lenses and UV 400 level protection. Well, Holzkern makes a number of dope products, including some great bandlets to go with your spectacles of choice, like this acoustic bandlet made of Padak wood and stainless steel in black. And until June 16th, Holzkern is making it possible for a portion of your purchase to go toward helping 3 separate charities: the Jane Goodall Institute and their reforestation efforts in Senegal, an animal shelter for suffering street dogs in Bucharest, and humanitarian aid for children in Bangladesh with Care Austria. So if you'd like to support any of those organizations, just use our code DONATEVARIANT and you'll get a 10% discount on your order, and 5% of your order value will be donated to the 3 charities at no additional cost to you. And if you happen to be watching this after the deadline from June 17th through the end of June, you could use code VARIANT15 to get 15% off your order. And throughout June, you'll also get free shipping to the US and and most European countries within 2 to 5 days. Just click the link in the description below and hook yourself up with some great swag for summer with Holzkern. Okay, next on our list of favorite Maximals, we have Cheetor. Let's be honest, this character is so dope because he's essentially the Robin or Spider-Man of the group, in the sense that he's young, fast, he has lots of energy, and just wants to take the bad guys down. The problem is, just like several of Batman's Robins and Spider-Man, he can get in over his head and is a bit cocky at times. Much like a teenage hero sidekick, he looks up to his mentor or superior, Optimus Primal. And whether it's ego or sensitivity always trying to prove himself, he never wants to hide from a fight. So it's a good thing he transforms into a cheetah and is the fastest Maximal, because sometimes he needs to get out of situations he put himself in very quickly. Next up, of course, we have Tigertron. He's a very unique Maximal because when they crash landed, he took damage to his stasis pod. Because of this, unlike his other fellow Maximals, he's more animal than robot. In his case, more tiger than robot. Some would call him a hippie in the sense that he's all about being connected to the earth and nature. Put it this way, Tigertron cares more about what the war between the Maximals and Predacons is doing to the planet than their actual war. With that said, he's also really intelligent and balances out the team very nicely. And the last Maximal we're going to talk about is none other than Dinobot. Dinobot is probably the most interesting of all the Beast War Transformers because he was originally a Predacon who defected and became a Maximal. Unlike Rat Trap, this dude is all about battle and dying a warrior's death. Even though he's on the Maximals and on the side of good, he wants to be the leader of the team. But Optimus Primal and the rest of the Maximals shut that down real quick. As you guys know, I love to compare things to comics all the time, specifically Marvel and DC. And to me, he's basically like the Red Hood or Jason Todd of the group. He just wants to kick ass and teeters the line of being a villain as he once was a villain. He's arguably the best warrior of the Maximals and definitely has two of the coolest weapons, a dope spinning sword in one hand and a rotating blade in the other hand. The dude also has laser eye beams. He's easily one of my top 3 favorite Beast War characters, period, for all the things I just mentioned and more. Now, those are just some of our favorite Maximals from Beast Wars, but now let's move on to our favorite Predacons. And first up, we have none other than Megatron. I know 80s kids will disagree with me hard, but for me, and I'm sure many of you, this is the best interpretation of Megatron we've gotten. Don't get me wrong, Tank Megatron was awesome, but T-Rex Megatron is a whole other level. The dude straight up has a T-Rex head as his right hand that could also fire blasts out of its mouth. Hear me, this version of Megatron has a whole T-Rex head as his right hand. That is the coolest thing probably in all of Transformers. Mix that with his hellish manipulating evil intellect, and it's a perfect combination. This version of Megatron orchestrates elaborate schemes that would often work if it weren't for Optimus Primal. And let's not forget the now iconic way he talks, always saying yes after each sentence. So good. Again, this is peak Megatron, at least for me. Next up, we have Waspinator. Putting it simply, Waspinator is the punching bag of the group. He's always the one getting hurt because of something going wrong and simply the one being punched, shot, blown up, and so on and so forth. But for whatever reason, I personally love the character, specifically the way he talked. He talked with the buzzing sound in his voice constantly, and I loved that as a kid, and because of that, I still dig it now. It may be annoying to some, but I call it nostalgia. As a grown-up, it's kind of sad that he gets no respect from his fellow Predacons, but it makes for good interaction and stories. Next up, we have Black Arachnia. She is quite literally the femme fatale of the group. And I don't know about you guys, but there was something about her that as a kid I was like, why are you so attractive though? You're like a spider robot. This is weird. But for some reason, I dig it. She's the definition of feminine and badass. She uses her sultry femme fatale persona to lure you in like a spider, and then boom, goes in for the kill. She's also really cool because though she's a Predacon under Megatron's command, she's not about taking orders. She's always looking out for herself, but her downfall is that she's very overconfident. And she has feelings for the Maximal, Silverbolt. By the way, I completely forgot to mention him earlier when talking about the Maximals, so we're gonna mention him right now real quick. Silverbolt is a badass. He's what they call a fuser, as he's a winged wolf transformer. Silverbolt is easily one of the coolest characters the series has to offer, and I can't believe I forgot to mention him earlier. Well, here we are, so Silverbolt, awesome Beast War character. Anyway, back to Black Arachnia. She is great on her own, but once her relationship with Silverbolt was introduced, it showed a whole other side of her. They brought her to a whole other level. But moving along, we have Inferno. Now, if you thought Tigertron inhabited his animalistic side more than his Transformer side, you haven't seen anything yet. Inferno straight up believes he's a fire ant, to the point where he calls Megatron his queen, which pisses him off. So Inferno often changes it up, calling him his royalty, which is just really a workaround. Since he believes he's a fire ant, he doesn't really have any future goals like the other Predacons. He's all about what's good for the colony and or his queen, which of course would be the Predacons and Megatron. So since this dude straight up thinks he's an ant, he's given very simple yet deadly tasks by Megatron, which pretty much always involve him just burning things down, specifically the Maximals, because as he's a fire ant, he has fire abilities. He's all around just fun and an interesting character. Then who could forget Pterosaur? He's modeled after a pterodactyl and is usually like the scout of the group because of his flying abilities. He can survey the area to see where the Maximals are, and what's interesting about him, like several other Predacons, he's always looking out for himself. So if he can cut a deal with the Maximals to benefit him, he's gonna do just that. To be honest, one of the main reasons why I liked him as a kid is because I thought his transformed design looked freaking awesome. It was very sleek and I love the red and silver. And because of Jurassic Park, dinosaurs were always cool to me, and he's a giant pterodactyl robot. Anyway, following Pterosaur, we have Scorponok. He's the guy in the group who's dumb and loyal, meaning he's gonna do whatever Megatron tells him to do to the best of his ability. And being a Transformer Scorpion, he's pretty deadly with the Venom Strike tail and his 2 claw hands or pincher hands. The problem is, since he's so dumb, there's not really much Megatron can do with him. So he often just tells him to hit things or shoot rockets out of his pinchers. With that said, it's easy to see why he was off at the beginning of season 2. And rounding out this list is Quick Strike. He is a gunslinging, trigger-happy Predacon. Much like Silverbolt, he is also a fuser, being a hybrid of a Cobra and a Scorpion, which is the main reason why I dig this character so much as a kid. His Scorpion tail is a Cobra's head, which is amazing. Much like Megatron having a T-Rex head as a hand, making a Cobra head a tail for a Scorpion is genius. And it made all boys like me being like, yeah, this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Unlike Rhinox, I was able to find his action figure and he was one of my favorites. He's very simple-minded and straightforward. He just wants to shoot and beat up Maximals. But with all that said, guys, there you have it, our favorite Transformers from Beast Wars. I'm very curious to see which Maximals or Predacons we're gonna see in Rise of the Beast. I know Primal, Cheetor, and Ravage are confirmed, but I've been trying to stay away to be surprised. All I know is I better see Megatron with a T-Rex hand or I'm gonna be pissed. Anyway, are you guys looking forward to the new Transformers film, and which characters do you want to see and or are your favorites? Let us know in the comments. Otherwise, we'll see you next time when I talk about all things comics.